All right, I want to call this meeting of the Simpson County Fiscal Court to order, and I want to ask Magistrate Nathaniel Downey if he would open us with a word of prayer, and we'll follow that with the pledge to the flag.
May it bow his. Heavenly Father, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for last night's laying down, this early morning rising, Lord God. Lord God, please continue to bless the fiscal court members, Lord, and continue to have us to be able to make the rightful decisions for the community, Lord. Lord, and bless all the elected officials, Lord, from the national, state, and the local level across the board, Lord. Continue to bless our citizens in a very positive manner, Lord. Bless the merchants, Lord, and bless all the ones that's around, Lord, and bless the ones that's in the hospitals and nursing homes all over the land and country, Lord, and bless the ones that's still fighting this virus, Lord. Please continue to put your hands around them and then continue to bless them in each and every way. In Jesus Christ's name, amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I don't think we have here the public on the agenda. Typically we do, but we do have some public comments. Mr. Ron Creek asked if he could address us this morning. So Ron, if you come to the podium and the microphone. You know, you're about our most regular citizen that we have show up here, and we appreciate that.
Well, I've always done that from where I came from. I was in the Los Angeles area, so, you know, it's a small town when I got there, like this, and then they had no plan, so then it all got developed, and all the cow farms and all the people growing vegetables and the fruits, they were all bulldozed, and it's now commercial and houses. It was right on the ocean. It was a beautiful place. So,
Well, we're definitely going to try not to become a Los Angeles.
well, you have to have a city plan to do that, and a county plan.
Yeah.
1 year, 2 year, 5,
I agree.
10, and you don't have that.
We're
And
working on it.
Working on it, it should be part of this is what I want to talk about, but it should have been part of your budget. If you don't have the plan done when you finish the budget, you can't finish it without it. Then you're forced.
Yeah.
Not you, though, the group that does it. It's got to get done. You're going to lose this rural place,
You're right.
and it's easy to do. It's just circles on a map. Here's what we're going to have.
Yep.
Enough of that lecture. Shame on you. Hey, I try to just tell people, and over the past few months, year I guess, I've gotten called by a couple friends, and they just ask if I'd come down and help them out, get involved with them. And it had to do with a water leak out in the middle of a field, rural field, out in the hayfield this time. Sure, no problem, loaded the tractor up and then exposed it, and then it got repaired. And the lady kept telling me, well, you know, I'll go turn the water off, or I'll turn the water on. I thought it was at her house. Well, her house was a half a mile away, and the water actually travels over 5 different pieces of property, or all agriculture, growing whatever you want to grow, hay, wheat, whatever. And then she would go out to a whole different street. And her place is on Craft, and the problem is the meter is on Barn School Road. You may know that, Judge. It's Barn School Road.
Familiar with the road.
Okay. And then I found out that her water meter is on Barn School Road, about a mile away, going through 3 different fields. And it just so happened the person that we were working on, or he gave us permission. We went up and exposed the situation. And it seemed very odd to me at the time. Well, here we are about 9 months later, and it just occurred again, where either a tractor or a cow stuck its foot down on this plastic pipe and broke it, and she lost her water. Now, she's a family with a child, underage child, and she doesn't have water, but now you have to go on private property to dig it up. Now, if I'm asked to do this again, because I don't charge them, I'm just getting involved and helping, and it's in the middle of somebody's cornfield and the corn's tossing, and they ask me to go dig up this great big water spot that somebody's water has traversed over 5 different property owners. Who has to pay that bill? Because that's not right that the meters aren't in front of everybody's house.
Well, unfortunately, let me say this first of all. I don't know if this is coincidence or not, but the director of the water district actually called me yesterday and wants to have a meeting this afternoon, and he mentioned Craft Road. Okay, so it's not coincidence then. So he's coming to meet today. And I know that the Simpson County Water District has laid out their plan for rehab and improvements and so on and so forth. And actually, Marty, who is the East District Magistrate, has made a request, which has been sent to the Water District, to put a main on Craft Road for the very reason that you're talking about. So it very well may be that he's coming today with numbers about what it would cost to get this done. I have no idea yet what our conversation is going to be. But I agreed with Marty when he presented it. I agree with what you're saying, because did you say, Marty, there's 13? Is there 13?
I think there's 13
13
on that.
houses on Craft Road, and it doesn't make sense that someone's meter is a mile away, and then you're responsible for a mile's worth of water line to your house.
You're responsible for that, and if it had to go across the field to damage crops, that would be your responsibility too. I mean, I've had to,
I think
it's
that's
like I've told you before the meeting, I mean, my house is 0.6 of a mile off the road, and I had to pay to have a county water line put back to my house, and in order to get rid of, because I had a water leak that I could not find, and because the water line was buried in places 6 foot deep on the little 1-inch line that was running back there, and I could not find the line, so I took up on myself to put a county water line back to my house and turned it over to the water department.
But evidently in talking with the head of the water district about when Marty made that request, and I forwarded that on to the water district, apparently and unfortunately, Craft Road is probably not our only road with that situation, but it may be the one with the most houses on it.
But I have told, the ones that have called me, I have told them, you can check with the water at your meeting today. The way they normally do it is they will still have to pay for another water meter, even though they have one there now. When they move them, they don't give them credit for the one they already have. They will have to pay to have another water meter put in at their house.
It's only fair, it's a new service.
Huh?
That's only fair, it's a new service. Sorry about this.
Right. Well, I don't want, I don't know exactly how that'll go, but so they should be prepared that if this water line is put in, from my experience, and they may change on this, I don't know. But in the past, they've always told people, even though you had a meter, when they take that meter out, they don't give you credit for that meter. You still have to pay to have a new meter put in.
And right now, the new meters,
About $450.
it's $450,
Yeah.
I think. But here's the problem. They don't have any right now.
I know that too.
Yeah.
Oh, they don't have any
They're
meters?
completely out of water meters, don't know when they'll get any more.
Oh, heck.
Big sign in the window. Tell them they can go take the one that you're shutting down.
But they also, we need to let the people on that road know too, and I know we need to continue on, but there's money in the county budget to pay for 50% of fire hydrants. So if they put a water line in big enough to carry a fire hydrant, which I think has to be a minimum of 6 inch.
6-inch main, yeah.
Then if a individual wants to have a fire hydrant in front of their house to cut down on, then that will help their insurance rate. The county will pay for half of the cost of the fire hydrant.
Yeah.
I live in the area, but not on those
Yeah,
roads.
I don't know, yeah.
I have no,
So it's, and I understand, and I appreciate you coming and talking to us about it, Ron, and believe me, we're well aware of the situation, and
well, the fellow where the leak was, his mailbox and his entrance to his farm is on Craft, but he gets his water from Henson Road. So
Yeah.
it crosses other property. So anyway, thanks for listening.
All right, well, I will broach all of this in our meeting with the Water District Supervisor today.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Sorry for taking up so much of your time. I'll speak on.
You're good. We enjoy you being here with us. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the minutes of our July 6th regular court meeting, I just need a motion and a second to approve those minutes.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate,
Second.
second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, next we have with us Mr. Tony Notor Giacomo. He's wanting to talk with us today. If y'all recall, Tony, you can come up to the mic. If y'all recall, we originally had I think it was $1 million grant to do infrastructure, and that grant was kind of, I don't know who it was, I guess you could actually say it was pulled and redone to do for purchase of processing equipment. And at the time, gentlemen, and the attorney may be able to enlighten you more on the particulars of the agreement that was signed, but we limited the draw of that $1 million to $850,000 because of an increase in the line of credit that you had gotten from 500 to 650.
Correct. So 2019, I was awarded a community development block grant through the federal government and the state, which was going to be used initially for my phase 1 project on Steel Road for infrastructure. When I decided to pivot to the interim facility that I've completed and built in 2020, I had that grant converted to essentially a low interest loan, which still the grant is really just a loan that I'm responsible for. By doing that, we were going to purchase equipment, which the county has first position lien on that equipment. And we did limit it to the $850,000 because at the time the appraisal on the property with the bank, there's $650,000. Franklin Bank and Trust has first lien on my property. So the $850 was combined was what at the current time the current appraisal price for the land only. And so we went forward with that and bought the equipment that I could with that, which we've successfully did, and we finally got fully operational here really at the end of April when we got our state fire and electrical inspection passed, and we've been operational since. There's an additional, according to Gabe Nickel, who's my kind of liaison person to state, who's head of the branch manager for the community development block grants. There's an additional $149,680, which I would like to draw that, doesn't go to me, go for an equipment provider, to buy some additional equipment in the next phase of the processing. Currently today, the processing equipment that we have that was acquired with the $850,000 is kind of the first step in all processing. It takes the botanical material, the flour itself, and brings it down to a decarbonized crude. But the next phase is really critical because it's part of also remediation and getting it down to a distillate, which then is more applicable to be able to sell out into the market space. So it's important to us as a business, and the money is still available within the grant. Of course, in order for me to request that, I have to get a draw request signed by Judge Barnes. So I met with Judge Barnes about a week or so ago, and we do have an agreement that's been in place since June 30th, 2020, which I make monthly interest payments to the state, to the Simpson County. And like I said, there's the additional funds available to state for me to draw on. But we would have to amend our agreement to add that additional $149,000. Now, all of it won't come to me because some portion, like the original $850, would go to the Brad as well for administration.
Yeah, so like I explained to Tony, obviously, like he's talking about, you would have to do something different with the agreement. but also that I can't just arbitrarily say, okay, we're going to do it, because the limitation was actually an action of the fiscal court, and to undo that would take an action of the fiscal court. And I mean, I clearly explained to you that I don't know that the position of the fiscal court has changed from the time that we originally entered that agreement. So, I mean, this is question for these gentlemen here.
This grant was in 2019, correct?
The initial grant that I was awarded was right in 2019.
How many full-time jobs do you have out there right now?
Currently, there are 4 full-time jobs. But I just
thought part
started
of the-
hiring.
I thought part of the grant was you were supposed to provide like 40 full-time jobs.
Over a period of time, not like,
So in 2 years, you can only provide to 4 full-time
No.
jobs?
I did not start hiring until this year. I didn't get any of the money from the grant to buy the equipment until July of 2020. So I started hiring when my equipment showed up and got in place and got operational, which wasn't until March of this year. So how it works at the state and the grant, they'll come in and every year or two come in and do an audit to see how you're doing as far as hiring. If I don't hire enough people or under the terms of the grant within 7 years, and I pay back, that's the term of the $850,000, I pay a balloon payment of the $850, the money goes back to the state. If I hire, let's say, I think it's $20,000 or $30,000 a job, the way it works out. So let's say I hired just 10 people over a 5 or 6 year period. Whatever that number is, then that money the county gets to keep and use for other things. Otherwise, that money goes back to the state.
And Tony, I know I've brought this up a few times, and I think it's worth mentioning again. And Counselor, you can correct me if I'm mistaken here, but I think the concern of the court was this, and when I say this, it's not, I'm wishing you the best, I really am. But if something were to happen next week, next month, 6 months from now, and you're like, shoot, I can't do it, I'm folding up, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
We're obligated to pay that money back.
You are obligated because of how it's structured, but
Right.
you are first lien position
Which was why we wanted to limit the scope of exposure.
and you did tremendously,
Yeah.
in my opinion. I mean, if my property is worth significantly more than $1.4 million,
Why is it that personal finances, I mean, you seek personal finance rather than requesting this? I mean, ultimately, like Judge Barnes said, ultimately the taxpayers in a default situation, ultimately the taxpayers are responsible for this grant. So I guess I'm wondering, why aren't you seeking private financing rather than?
I could, but it was a grant that I was awarded that was $1 million. We only took as $850 because of the county wanted to make sure they had protection on that, with giving almost no credit to the equipment, which, by the way, the equipment's worth significantly more money today. You can't even get a lot of the equipment nowadays, just like you can't get water meters and other things. So the
Probably not
equipment's
going
worth
to be a
more.
high demand for that type of equipment, would you agree?
There is
Probably not a
high, there's
demand.
very high demand for it.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
But anyway, I don't feel comfortable as an elected official.
Mhm.
I don't mind infrastructure, that's something we can see. You know, if we, something, and I wish everybody the best, the very best. But if we have to sell equipment to recoup, then we're at the mercy of whatever that equipment market, whatever it may be, could be salvage price, we don't know.
But you have second lien position on my property at Franklin Bank and Trust, which the property, last time they gave me my appraisal was when we got this agreed upon, which is well over a year, was $1.4 million. So that left $650,000 at that time. Actually, $850. It was the full amount. So you're protected by the property.
Tony,
So if I
I-
had a close-up shop, I'm sorry, Judge, but if I had a close-up shop, as you were saying, and I made it this far, by the way. So, I built the company during the pandemic, 2020. So
Tony, I'm gonna be very honest with you. I wish you the best, I really do. And we've got, I know one other, maybe two other hemp processing facilities here in Simpson County. I also know, or it is my belief, that the county has never secured a grant for the purpose of purchasing equipment for an industry. To go beyond the scope of the limitations of the agreement would have to change that agreement. It would increase it by that other $150,000. I get what you're saying about the land. I cannot today recommend to these guys to authorize the release of the other $150,000. Now, if they choose to do it and they vote to do so, obviously I will sign the papers and we'll get the other $149,000. But unless the counselor tells me, hey, Judge, we really should, I can't recommend that today. And I tried to tell you the other day, this is an uphill battle.
For what it's worth, other than Mr. Chandler, I think I've been here longer than anyone here. And Marty, I don't remember us, I think the judge is right. To my recollection, which is not perfect, we have never, got a loan for people to buy, an industry to buy equipment before. Does that sound right to you? You have longer institutional memory than I do.
The only thing I can think of, and if Scott was here, he could tell you, but I think the industrial board, along with the city and the county, helped Berry Plastics to buy a calendar
That was the industrial
thing. But,
authority, that was not us.
yeah, but I mean, that's the only thing. But as far as fiscal court, I cannot think of anything.
Nicole, you've been here longer than all of us. No, I'm just saying, and, I mean, ultimately, Judge, you all would have to redo the agreement. If y'all make that decision, I'll try, you know me, I'll accommodate you as best I can. But that actually is probably more, legally, I guess you could, if the political will was there. But ultimately, I think that's a decision. You all are the ones, and I'm not passing the buck, I'm just saying responsibility-wise that's like the budget and everything else. That's not a legal matter. Ultimately, that goes to the people's elected representatives, which are you all. And if you all want to do that, you say, Sam, redo the agreement to release this, so we can, all of it instead of $850, then I'll do what I can to accommodate. But ultimately, the decision is your all's. And if you all have the political will to do so, so be it. But I mean, you all are the people's, taxpayers, elected representatives.
Here's my biggest problem with it. When we did that, did it thought you had the intentions, and I'm sure you do and still do, of providing a lot more jobs and or occupation for the citizens of this county. But when you come in and say you've only got 4 positions.
Well, there's
If you'd have
4
came in
full-time
and
here.
said, I've got, and it's none of my business what your income is, but if you've only got 4 positions, you just get started and you've been on this for going on 2 years, then it seems to me like your business is taking off rather slow. But if there's a high demand for the equipment, then that means there should be a high demand for the market of your product. But it doesn't seem to me that that's what's happening here. So I'm not in favor of doing another $150,000 when it doesn't seem like the money that we have to get with the grant to begin with is not doing a lot to create jobs for the people. And that's all this is about. I mean, I want every business to be successful, but if I have to vote to put my name on the line for something, I want it to do something that's going to help the people of the community. And I just don't see that it's doing it.
Well, I've spent a lot of money in this county, in this community.
There's
And
a lot of
in my
people
jobs,
spend.
in my jobs, we all are familiar, we just went through basically a pandemic and people not even wanting to come to work. My system just got up in April of this year, 2021. I got my approval from the state and both from my fire and electrical. That was not easy. There was a lot of money spent to get things changed to make those codes. So it's been 3 months since I've been up and operational, not 2 years. The award of those funds, $1 million, was in 2019, and I told the state to hold on to it because at the end of 2019, the hemp industry took a nosedive and made no sense to build a 25,000 square foot facility, which I architected, designed, and engineered, and was ready to go on Steel Road. If I'd done that, I wouldn't be sitting here. I would be out of business. Instead, I pivoted and I spent a lot of money, a lot more than the 150 I'm asking, a lot more than 850. But the money that I was awarded was going to be used for now equipment. So it's available. There's plenty of security that the county has. The money's not coming from y'all, it's coming from the state. It's still protected by my property and the assets that are there, above and beyond the equipment. So the protection, once again, in my opinion, is more than there. No one's going to get, if I decide all of a sudden tomorrow, lock up, leave the doors and shut up, it's not going to happen, one. And also having this other equipment in my business plan, this is also allows me to hire more people. The product I have today, I cannot sell. I have to have this other piece of equipment to sell it. I just went through my first state inspection by the state, Kentucky Department of Ag, 3 weeks ago. Doris Hamilton and Ryan Burnett came and did a total audit inspection. Everything went amazingly well. And like I told them, I said, I'm just getting going. So we just planted 7 acres. Y'all are welcome to come visit the facility. It looks beautiful, and we're finally really moving forward. And I do have offers out to jobs and trying to get people to fill those jobs. But I'm also not going to go out and hire a bunch of people at the end of the day and burn cash flow that I have if I don't have ability to generate revenue, which I haven't done since I started this project, and I decided to make my claim and build my company in 2018 when I bought that 130 acres. So pivoted twice because of the economy, and then of course the pandemic slowed things down, but still got everything done.
Question. You indicated that given the equipment that you have purchased with the change in the $850,000, that the equipment you purchased now and the products that you produce with the equipment, you're not able to sell. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Not getting too much.
Well, you can't, I'm sorry, it's important to finish. So can I sell it to another processor to go down to another level of remediation? Yes, I can.
Okay. But you yourself, without having someone else to finish it up, cannot sell the product.
No, I could sell it to another processor.
That's not what I asked. What you said was you yourself cannot produce finished product as it stands now.
I cannot get it down to a distillate without the next piece of equipment, correct?
Okay. Now, next question is, it seems you're asking for another, you say there's like 149,000 and change left over. How much approximately does Brad get of that?
I don't know, they adjusted their numbers last time, so I don't
The brand originally was going to charge $30,000
on $1 million.
for the oversight of this grant. And when we agreed to reduce the amount going out to the 850, they agreed to reduce their fee down to like $19,000, I believe it was. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So and the brand is still owed $14,860.
So basically, it goes down to about $135,000 after.
No, there's 149 in addition to the 14,800 owed to the
That
brand.
money came out of the 850.
Okay.
Yeah.
What I'm getting at is it's 140 or thereabouts that after Brad gets done, it comes to you. Is it your contention that with that extra 140-ish, that you will be able to purchase every single piece of equipment that you can get your distillate down to a distillate form?
No, I'm gonna have to come up with cash too.
So you're going to have to, even if you get this, you're going to have to pony up money from revenue from other sources, correct?
No, I'm gonna have to pay the difference for the actual
Well,
hard
but-
equipment.
But other source, I mean, not just the county, the money that you're getting from the grant.
The equipment itself, the one that I believe I'm gonna select from the vendor is about $169,000 with taxes, but that's for the equipment. Then I have to do some build out, electrical work, plumbing, that's all on me to do.
So basically, you need about 140-ish, and then about another 30,000 there, about 30 to 40,000 to do it.
I don't know what that number is.
But I'm just saying,
Yeah, it could be 100,000.
I'm gonna say,
It could be.
okay, so you don't know. is
Well,
what-
I mean, I'm guessing because I'm looking through what the plumbing costs were versus what I paid a year ago to have everything done, and it ended up being back then more, so I'm just assuming nowadays it's gonna be even more, so I don't have the accurate number.
So you don't have a final number, is what you're saying?
On the build-out piece, but
I just,
Well, I think here's where we're at, Tony. I think that we just need to figure out what the feel of the court is, and I think I get it. And from there, maybe this needs to be a discussion at the industrial authority. Because this affects and impacts them, and the industrial authority may say, hey, we're good to cover it. I don't know. I haven't talked with Denny or anyone on the industrial authority board about this. But the bottom line here today at this moment is, my thing is, from what you're asking, what you're requesting is, I need a motion from fiscal court members to either A, continue as we are with the current contract, or B, revisit the contract and add the additional $150,000.
I don't even think you need, I don't even think you need to continue with it. It is what it is. If you want to change it, you need a motion. But if you want to keep where it is, I think you don't.
You don't have to have anything.
no.
No, it's already said.
Yeah.
You
It's
say
already
where you're at.
said. So the only motion you,
Need would be to
Revisit.
revisit the contract.
correct.
And if I don't hear that motion, I mean, we'll have to move on to the next topic.
Okay.
Is there a motion from anyone? Tony, we'll talk with Denny and see what can be done through the industrial authority.
Okay.
All right,
Thank you much for your time.
Thank you. All right, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review a resolution authorizing an MOA with the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet for Garvin Lane Extension, it is the $300,000 that the governor recently announced to do the work on the on the Eddings Road. But we need to authorize this resolution, or adopt this resolution and authorize the county judge to sign it.
So moved, Mason.
Second.
Motion by Myron, second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And this didn't take long, but next we have a fiscal year 21-22 budget ordinance number 220.230, amendment number 1. But we knew this was going to happen because the resolution that we just now passed, we've got to amend that $300,000 into the budget, and the ARPA funds that we had to amend into the last fiscal year budget now have to be amended into this fiscal year's budget.
Well, being we're still talking about Eddinger, are they making that a complete loop? Is that what this is for?
But it will be posted, no truck traffic. It is only for residents and employees.
But they are going to widen
It's
that.
going to widen that entire road.
It'll need to be 3 lanes back through there, I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna be getting some calls in you up too. If they
I've
just,
already had two.
if they just make this road,
I've already had two calls and it hadn't started.
yeah, well, if they just make this road a little wider, it needs to be just like it is when you turn in by those apartments all the way back through there.
Well, hopefully that's what their plans are.
And I know those people back there are not gonna be happy with all that traffic coming out, but that's, that's what I feared was gonna happen.
Yep.
Motion made.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the budget ordinance number 220.230. Need a second?
Second.
Second by Myron. Pam, on the ordinance, we'll take a roll call.
Nathaniel Downey,
Yes.
Myron Thurman,
Yes.
Marty Chandler,
Yes.
Mason Barnes,
Yes. Next, gentlemen, is to review and approve the application for the 80/20 state bridge funding for culvert replacements on Howard Brewer and Pleasant Hill Roads. This is reimbursement money. We have to expend it, and then we would get reimbursed. But I think, do I have to sign this one also? Bridge funding.
Don't file it, but you will when it comes back to finalize.
Okay, so let's, as part of this motion, if we're good to approve this, we need a motion to approve it and authorize the judge to sign any applicable papers that go along with this.
So moved.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Bobby, you might want to come to the speaker on this. I don't know if they have any questions, but here is, we've got review and approve the Public Works purchase of 2 pickup trucks. These were budgeted items, and we're just wanting to authorize it so we can get a PO and get them ordered, because it could be this time next year before we get them.
So I was going to bid on it. I didn't ask what your court wanted to do, but in the past, we bought off the state contract. We've also bid these trucks out since we got a local dealer. So I was going to bid them. That's what process I was going to do.
Okay.
So
Fine.
So you need a motion to authorize you to bid
to
the,
put a bid out, and we've got the dates and everything set up.
you've got all the specs and everything.
I've got the specs.
What kind of trucks are you looking at?
3/4 ton, 4-door, full bed, 4-wheel drive, basically what I, like the ones that
Okay.
we're just gonna go
So
straight.
we just need to authorize, we just need a motion and a second to authorize Public Works to put out the
Put the
bid
bid
for
out.
2 pickups.
So moved.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, we have a vacancy coming on the Industrial Authority Board, a county appointment at the end of July. And I've talked with Denny, who is Executive Director, and Gary Brody, the Chairman of the Board, and they both agree here that we would recommend Paul Raines to serve a 4-year term that would go through July 31st of 2025. I just need a motion and a second to, got a motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Marty. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, is to review or approve establishing drug task force bank accounts per the auditor. This is kind of a funny thing, and the sheriff can probably speak to this way more than I can, but the drug task force was formed, 17, 18 years ago? Something of that nature. And evidently, they just recently had their very first state audit ever. And they were told when it formed that you had to have these 4 bank accounts, and now the auditor's saying, no, you only need 3. But the auditor's also saying that now with the move to Simpson County, they need to have the bank accounts established under our identification numbers. If you have more questions, that would be to the county treasurer, because that's about the extent of my knowledge on it.
If that's what the auditor says, then that's what we pretty much have to do.
Yeah, yeah. There's a few people you can't argue with, one of those being the auditors.
Your wife being another one.
Sam says his wife is the other, you can't argue with. Did you make a motion, Myron?
I say.
And Marty's got a second. Any question or discussion? And I think the authorized signers on these accounts will be Jackie Hunt and Joyce. I can't think of Joyce's last name. Who? She is the assistant to Jackie, and Sheriff Hobson is the third signer on these accounts. All in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, if y'all, as we discussed earlier about some IT work, I have an employee resolution number 2021-07-20 EMP. If it's the pleasure of the court, we would need a motion and a second to do this trial period.
Motion made.
Got a motion by Nate. Second. Second by Myron. Any question or discussion?
So everything worked out all right? If you had any, do you have any discussion with this individual?
Yes.
Everything?
Yeah, everything's good.
Okay. And this is for a trial period through October 31st?
It's a 90-day trial period.
Yeah.
Okay,
Beginning August 1 through the month of August, September, and October.
okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking, what happens if, I mean, do we get out of this if something messes up in like 6 weeks' time?
Oh, yeah, it'll be like any other, obviously, state.
I know this is a trial period, but is there anybody that can make sure that nothing is getting messed up?
Well, as you see in this resolution, this will be through the facilities maintenance supervisor, so it'll be under that direction.
Okay. All right.
So had a motion by Nate and seconded by Myron, is that what I had?
Correct.
Any other question or discussion? Good questions, Marty. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. The next one, gentlemen, I apologize for. We interviewed some folks, one last week and then the other just yesterday. Of course, obviously, you know, our planning and zoning administrative assistant has retired. And so this happened yesterday afternoon, but we have employee resolution number 2021-07-20 EMP-PZ. And you see the information on that resolution about the start dates and salary and so on. So I would need a motion and a second to authorize that employee resolution.
How many applied?
Two.
Two? Okay.
Second.
Did you make the motion, Myron? And Nate seconded. Any other question or discussion? And actually, this one right here will be a budget positive move, because I think we had the former, we had a 20-year individual in that position, now we got a starting position, so it'll be a budgeted positive move on that regard. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. All right, gentlemen, next, budget transfers. If you had an opportunity to review those, we need a motion and a second to authorize those transfers.
So moved.
Motion by Marty,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review these cash transfers, we need a motion and a second to approve cash transfer of $7,525.76 from the federal grant fund to the general fund, and this is money from the June COPS award and 1 month of HIDA money. And it comes into these federal grant line, and we have to transfer it to the general line.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate. Second. Second by Myron. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the cash transfer of $605.54 from the road fund to the jail fund, we'd need a motion and a second to approve that. This is money, for the litter abatement where the jail has an employee, but they're actually taking a public works vehicle out and doing litter abatement. But the money comes to the jail, but it has to go, do what? The money, and it has to go to the jail to pay that employee.
So is this something we have to do like it's more than that a month, isn't it?
Well, with the June payroll, June payroll with our hourly employees and how we're a week behind, she started June 1st. So the first payroll in June that we had is all May days. So this is just like half. Our June 18th payroll captured June 1st through June 12th, I believe. So like July will be a full month's worth.
Okay, but
We'll have to do it every month,
we'll have to do it every month or every meeting?
maybe every,
No, every month.
Every month? Okay.
Myron made a motion.
so we got a motion by Myron,
I'll second.
second by Marty. Any other question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the bills and claims, we'd need a motion and a second to approve those.
Motion made.
Second.
Motion by Nate, second by Marty. Any questions or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. And then finally, gentlemen, if you had an opportunity to review the June 30th, 2021 financial statement, we'd need a motion and a second to approve that financial statement subject to audit and authorize the county judge and the county treasurer to sign it.
So moved.
Motion by Myron,
Second.
second by Nate. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, moving into reports. Before our next meeting on July 30th and 31st, which will be a Friday and a Saturday, and that Friday night, the 30th, there'll be a concert on the downtown square. The Simpson County Historic Society is hosting an escape room here at the courthouse. I think it starts at either 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Friday, and it's going to happen up here in the courtroom. But if you need more information about it, just contact the Simpson County Historical Society. All we know is it's happening here. We don't have details here at the courthouse on what's taking place. One thing that I want to talk about too, and Bill, I may need you on this, with the one employee resolution that we done on the IT, we had an employee leave, and I talked with the jailer this morning, and he had to be in Frankfurt, so he's not here. But we had an employee leave the jail that was doing the bulk of the IT work there. So the jailer's not replacing that employee. That was also their maintenance guy. Well, the jail has another maintenance guy that will take care of the general day-to-day issues. If you've got a leaky faucet, a stopped-up toilet, a light switch that's bad, so on and so forth. But we have major issues that we need someone with expertise and knowledge and understanding to take care of. Primarily things like, and he already has, Bill has already stepped in and taken care of the roofing issue at the jail and done a great job with that. And he has excellent knowledge of heat and air equipment. We just need someone that is the point person to say when we need a repair or a change or something done with major equipment. We really need someone of Bill's knowledge to take care of that sort of thing. And the reason this is kind of important right now, evidently the big unit on the jail, which is the 25-ton, the main unit, the coil is leaking and they're having to gas it, every 3 or 4 times a year? Yeah. Yeah. So I just want to make sure that the court is good. First, I want to make sure, and I've talked with Bill, and I find Bill to be a very honest man, so he says that he's good with taking care of just the major issues at the jail, as long as there are remaining, maintenance guys taking care of the little day-to-day things. But I just want to make sure that the court is good with having Bill oversee and direct the major mechanical or problems that could arise maintenance related at the jail. And are you good?
Yes. I guess in doing that, I would like to have some kind of a motion made so that, it's in the record that the court is okay with that. Because when I was hired on, I was told I'd never have to do anything at the jail, and of course with the roof and all that. I'm fine with doing whatever, and I don't mind at all, but it's kind of one of those things, when I do something, I want the court to be ready to back me up on the things that I do, because there's, I see some things that's going to have to be done.
And I agree with you, Bill, and I think the record should reflect in that motion that you will have the full and absolute direction of those major mechanical and maintenance issues without any second guessing from jail staff or personnel.
Well, it's not just, in that building, it's not just the jail, it's the sheriff's department too.
Well, but Bill's already taking care of things like this at the sheriff's department.
Yeah.
And the sheriff doesn't have his own maintenance staff.
I know,
So-
but what I'm saying is, if we're gonna do that, we need to just on that building, not,
Yeah.
because that building has both sheriff and jail in it.
So if we had a motion to the effect that we would authorize the facility maintenance manager to take care of the major mechanical and maintenance issues on the jail facility, which, as Marty points out, will also incorporates the sheriff's office. Was that a?
Yeah, that'd be fine, because, I'd work with Scott down there. They've always taken care of anything. So, I don't want to, I'm not going to go in and butt in where not needed, but there's, we are talking about some major issues with, we've already, you all have seen the engineer report on the mechanical issues, and one of the problems we have now, we're going to have to address that, and which way direction we're going to go in that, because it's either a major repair or it's going to be a replacement. So however the court wants to word that and everything, I'm fine with that.
Pam, was you able to get down what I said?
It's clear as mud.
Facility maintenance, and I was going to put this name, repair, mechanical and major issues at the jail.
Yeah, I would say major maintenance issues. Yeah, because there could be major issues at the jail that have nothing to do with maintenance, and I don't think Bill wants to be a part of that.
No, you don't. Comes to mind, Bill, the old saying, there was a heck of a lot about this job they didn't tell me before I took it.
So we got it now.
Need a
Was
motion.
there more that needed to be added?
No, I think that's good. We just need a motion and a second to authorize that.
Motion made.
Motion by Nate.
Second.
Second by Myron. Any question or discussion? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Congratulations, Bill.
Yeah, thank you.
Or condolences.
And while I'm up here, I'll make a report on the roof. The roof was coated, finished up yesterday, got our invoice. That's our third installment, you might say, on the roof. So we've got the major part of the jail covered, so now we're two that we have left. The center section in the sheriff's section that we'll do in the next 2 years unless, funds become available. But we got our invoice this morning on the third section. It's completed, so we'll move
Well,
forward.
and I want to say, and I know we probably don't say this enough, I know we don't say it enough publicly, but I really do appreciate what you do and how well you take care of things.
Thank you.
Because
Thank you very much.
I can promise you, when Bill gets on something, not only is it done, it's done right.
Thank you.
So I appreciate that. All right, gentlemen, I have one other thing that I want to ask you guys about. Obviously, some of you have probably had several calls concerning the park and some park activities as of late. And so what I'm about to talk about now really is not just a reflection of that, but just kind of an overall that it's brought to light to several people in the community that we basically, along with the city, jointly fund the park to the tune of roughly $500,000 a year. And it's probably the largest amount of taxpayer money given to any entity in the county that has no government oversight really whatsoever. And so I am of the contention that we need to visit along with the city of what we can do to maybe have some type of restructure to where there is more accountability to the government entities funding the park. And I mentioned this to the city manager yesterday. We talked about it. He talked as though he agreed with that assessment. And I told him clearly that I was going to bring this up in here today, and that if the magistrates agreed with my assessment, that this would definitely have to be or need to be a topic on our joint meeting.
I agree with what you're saying as far as the events, any events that go on out there, but we still are going to have something in place because, I mean, we don't, fiscal court, city commissions, I mean, we know they're going to play ball out there. We've got to have a board that can do that, but I don't know. I've been thinking a lot about how we need to do this, and I'm not sure yet until we all meet and put our heads together. I'm sure we'll all come up with the best solution, but I do not like getting phone calls about events at the park and that I don't have any control over.
Yeah.
And their response is always, well, you all fund them, so, you all should be able to do something. And we absolutely cannot. But
I've had that conversation more than once the last couple of weeks.
And I will say, I think that's one of the most underutilized spots in our county. That park, I've been several parks back a few years ago when I was running with that pulling tractor. And I went to several parks all over the eastern United States. That is one of the best parks that went to, and when we had events there, everybody said the same thing. But there's room at that park for expansion of, the other things for the community to use.
I agree. I think that we need to entertain. So which direction we're headed, I guess time will tell, but we need to entertain an idea of a different approach.
Nate, you're on the Parks Board.
Yes, since I've been on the Parks Board, I've gained a lot of insights to it that, that I'm maybe not agreeing with. It's like you all said, I think it has to be restructured. Because listen to other people talk, that is a beautiful park out there. I don't think it's really used like it should be used. It'd be easy for them to say that they need more money poured into it. But then, the county and the city, like I said, they fund them. But from my knowledge, a lot of other parks around, whoever that's in charge of the park, they go out and either get grants or find other ways and means to bring money into the park to make it what it should be. So, I'm all for, we have a meeting with the city, sit down, put our heads together, and then to be able to make the park what it should be. Because right now, I don't think it's doing what it should be doing out there. It just laying out there right now.
Honest assessment. All right, so gentlemen, we'll definitely make this a topic. I know we meet, I think our joint meeting is like the first Tuesday in September, so it's only about 6 weeks away. That's crazy to think the first week of September is 6 weeks away. But anyway.
Well, that gives us time to actually, I'm sure after this goes on air, there'll be people in the community, and I guess they will see this, and that'll give them time to, if they've got ideas, they can present it to us.
Absolutely. All right, gentlemen, that's all I have. Myron, you have anything?
No report.
Nate?
Well, no more than that, the Boys and Girls Club is shut down this week and looking to maybe reopen next week. And also the junior Wildcat football team has started practicing for the season already. We started last week. And it looks pretty promising this year.
Good.
We had larger numbers that signed up and what came out just this year. And our little fella look like that. They're enjoying themselves and having fun.
Good deal. Marty?
I was on vacation last week, but I seen some pictures on Facebook. It looked like they had a really good crowd for the concert on the square. I'm glad to see people.
And they missed all the rain. It was raining everywhere around us.
And it started right afterwards.
Did it start right after the concert was over?
Yes, some good.
I'm just glad to see that the people are, it's something that people can get out and enjoy. And other than that, I don't really have anything.
Counselor?
No report.
Sheriff?
No report, sir.
Bob, anything with emergency management?
No, sir.
Carter, anything with planning and zoning? Nelson, anything with fire department? Bobby, anything with road department? Bill, anything with maintenance? Who's making the motion to adjourn?
So
Motion. Second.
I got Marty and Nate. Y'all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed?